The 7 laws of Noah, also referred to as the Noahide laws or the Noachide laws, are a set of imperatives which, according to the Talmud, were given by God as a binding set of laws for the children of Noah, that is, all of humanity. Accordingly, any non-Jew who adheres to these laws because they were given by Moses is regarded as a righteous Gentile, and is assured of a place in the world to come, the final reward of the righteous. The 7 Noahide laws as traditionally enumerated are: do not deny God, do not blaspheme God, do not murder, do not engage in incest, adultery, pederasty or bestiality, do not steal, do not eat of a live animal, establish courts, legal system to ensure obedience to the law. According to the Talmud, the rabbis agree that the 7 laws were given to the sons of Noah. However, they disagree on precisely which laws were given to Adam and Eve. 6 of the 7 laws are exegetically derived from passages in Genesis, with the 7th being the establishing of courts, halakha, and the 7 laws. Talmud. According to the Talmud, the Noahide laws apply to all humanity through humankind's descent from one paternal ancestor, the head of the only family to survive the flood, who in Hebrew tradition is called Noah. In Judaism, Bnei Noah refers to all of humankind. The Talmud also states, righteous people of all nations have a share in the world to come. Any non-Jew who lives according to these laws is regarded as one of the righteous among the Gentiles. The rabbis agree that the 7 laws were given to the sons of Noah. However, they disagree on precisely which laws were given to Adam and Eve. 6 of the 7 laws are exegetically derived from passages in Genesis. The Talmud adds extra laws beyond the 7 listed in the Tosefta which are attributed to different rabbis, such as the grafting of trees and sorcery among others, Allah going so far as to make a list of 30 laws. The Talmud expands the scope of the 7 laws to cover about 100 of the 613 mitzvot. Punishment in practice. Jewish law makes it very difficult to apply the death penalty. No record exists of a Gentile having been put to death for violating the 7 laws. Some of the categories of capital punishment recorded in the Talmud are recorded as having never have been carried out. It is thought that the rabbis included discussion of them in anticipation of the coming Messianic age. The Talmud lists the punishment for blaspheming the ineffable name of God as death. The sons of Noah are to be executed by decapitation for most crimes, considered one of the lightest capital punishments, by stoning if he has intercourse with a Jewish betrothed woman, or by strangulation if the Jewish woman has completed the marriage ceremonies, but had not yet consummated the marriage. In Jewish law, the only form of blasphemy which is punishable by death is blaspheming the ineffable name. Leviticus chapter 24 verse 16. Some Talmudist rabbis held that only those offenses for which a Jew would be executed are forbidden to Gentiles. The Talmudist rabbis discuss which offenses and sub-offenses are capital offenses and which are merely forbidden. Maimonides states that anyone who does not accept the 7 laws is to be executed, as God compelled the world to follow these laws. However, for the other probations such as the grafting of trees and bestiality, he holds that the sons of Noah are not to be executed. Maimonides adds a universalism lacking from earlier Jewish sources. The Talmud differs from Maimonides in that it handles the 7 laws as enforceable by Jewish authorities on non-Jews living within a Jewish nation. Nachmanides disagrees with Maimonides' reasoning. He limits the obligation of enforcing the 7 laws to non-Jewish authorities, taking the matter out of Jewish hands. The Tosafot seems to agree with Nachmanides' reasoning. According to some opinions, punishment is the same whether the individual transgresses with knowledge of the law or is ignorant of the law. Subdividing the 7 laws. Various rabbinic sources have different positions on the way the 7 laws are to be subdivided in categories. Maimonides, in his Mishneh Torah, included the grafting of trees. Like the Talmud, he interpreted the prohibition against homicide as including a prohibition against abortion. Rabbi David ben Solomon ibn Abi Zimra, a commentator on Maimonides, expressed surprise that he left out castration and sorcery, which were also listed in the Talmud. In Chulun 92 Abla say that here are 30 laws which the sons of Noah took upon themselves. However, he only lists 3, namely the 3 that the Gentiles follow: not to create a ketubah between males, not to sell carrion in the market, and to respect the Torah. The rest of the laws are not listed. Talmud commentator Rashi remarks on this that he does not know the other commandments that are referred to, though the authorities seem to take it for granted that Allah's 30 commandments included the original 7. An additional 30 laws is also possible from the reading. 2 different lists of the 30 laws exist. Both lists include an additional 23 mitzvot, which are subdivisions or extensions of the 7 laws. One from the 16th century work Asara Mamerat by Rabbi Menachem Azariah Darfano, and a second from the 10th century Samuel ben Honi, which was recently published from his Judeo-Arabic writings after having been found in the Cairo Geniza. Rabbi Zvi Hirsch Chages suggests Menachem Azariah of Fano enumerated commandments are not related to the first 7, nor based on scripture, but instead were passed down by oral tradition. The 10th century Rabbi Saadia Gaon added tithes and levirate marriage. The 11th century Rav Nissim Gaon included listening to God's voice, knowing God, and serving God, besides going on to say that all religious acts which can be understood through human reasoning are obligatory upon Jew and Gentile alike. The 14th century Rabbi Nissim ben Reuben Gerendi added the commandment of charity, Ger Toshav. In earlier times, a Gentile living in the land of Israel who accepted the 7 laws in front of a rabbinical court was known as a Ger Toshav. The regulations regarding Jewish-Gentile relations are modified in the case of a Ger Toshav. Jewish law only allows the official acceptance of a Ger Toshav as a resident in the land of Israel during a time when the year of Jubilee is in effect. Contemporary status. Historically, some rabbinic opinions consider non-Jews not only not obliged to adhere to all the remaining laws of the Torah, but actually forbidden to observe them. Noahide law differs radically from Roman law for Gentiles, if only because the latter was enforceable judicial policy. Rabbinic Judaism has never adjudicated any cases under Noahide law. Jewish scholars disagree about whether Noahide law is a functional part of Halakha. Some modern views hold that penalties are a detail of the Noahide laws, and that Noahides themselves must determine the details of their own laws for themselves. According to this school of thought, cn. Rackover, Law and the Noahides, M. Dallin, The Rainbow Covenant. The Noahide laws offer mankind a set of absolute values and a framework for righteousness and justice, while the detailed laws that are currently on the books of the world's states and nations are presumptively valid. In recent years, the term Noahide has come to refer to non-Jews who strive to live in accord with the 7 Noahide laws. The terms observant Noahide or Torah-centered Noahides would be more precise, but these are infrequently used. Support for the use of Noahide in this sense can be found with the Ritva, who uses the term son of Noah to refer to a Gentile who keeps the 7 laws but is not a Ger Toshav. The rainbow, referring to the Noahide or First Covenant, is the symbol of many organized Noahide groups, following Genesis chapter 9 verses 12 to 17. Maimonides. The Jewish scholar Maimonides held that Gentiles may have a part in the world to come just by observing Noahide law and accepts them as given by Moses. Such children of Noah become the status of Chasidei Umot Haulam, pious people of the world, and are different than children of Noah who only keep the 7 laws out of moral, ethical reasoning alone. He writes in his Book of Laws, "Anyone who accepts upon himself and carefully observes the 7 commandments is of the righteous of the nations of the world and has a portion in the world to come. This is as long as he accepts and performs them, because it was the Holy One, blessed be he, who commanded them in the Torah, and that it was through Moses our teacher we were informed that the sons of Noah had already been commanded to observe them. But if he observes them because he convinced himself, then he is not considered a resident convert and is not of the righteous of the nations of the world, but merely one of their wise." Some later editions of the Mishneh Torah differ by one letter and read, "nor one of their wise men." The later reading is narrower. Spinoza read Maimonides as using nor and accused him of being narrow and particularistic. Other philosophers such as Hermann Cohen and Moses Mendelssohn have used more inclusive interpretations of the passage by Maimonides. In either reading, Maimonides appears to exclude philosophical Noahides from being righteous Gentiles. Thus Maimonides wants to emphasize that a truly righteous Gentile follows the 7 laws because they are divinely revealed and thus are followed out of obedience to God. Christianity and the Noahide laws. The apostolic decree recorded in Acts chapter 15 is commonly seen as a parallel to Noahide law. However, some modern scholars dispute the connection between Acts chapter 15 and Noahide law, the content of Noahide law, the historical reliability of the Acts of the Apostles, and the nature of biblical law in Christianity. The apostolic decree is still observed by Eastern Orthodoxy and includes some food restrictions. The only Noahide law that is not part of the standard moral teaching of mainstream Christianity is the prohibition against eating the flesh of an animal while it is still alive. Many interpret Acts and the Pauline epistles as making void the dietary laws found in the Torah and known by Noah. This claim is disputed by many Christians, including the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Church of God. The 18th-century Rabbi Jacob Emden proposed that Jesus, and Paul after him, intended to convert the Gentiles to the Noahide laws while calling on the Jews to keep the full law of Moses. Chabad movement. Maimonides stated that God commanded Moses to compel the world to accept these 7 commandments. In 1983, Rabbi Menahem M. Schneerson urged his followers to actively engage in activities to inform non-Jews about these 7 commandments, which had not been done in previous generations. Sefer Shiva Mitzvot Hashem. After Rabbi Schneerson started his Noahide campaign in the 1980s. A codification of the exact obligations of the Gentiles in the spirit of the classical Shulchan Aruch was needed. In 2005, Rabbi Moshe Weiner of Jerusalem accepted to produce an in-depth codification of the Noahide precepts. The work is called Sefer Shiva Mitzvot Hashem, published 2008-2009, as it was approved by both of the then presiding chief rabbis of Israel as well as by other Hasidic and non-Hasidic halachic authorities. It can claim an authoritative character and is referred as a Shulchan Aruch for Gentiles at many places. Public recognition. United States. In 1987, President Ronald Reagan signed a proclamation, speaking of the historical tradition of ethical values and principles, which have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization, when they were known as the 7 Noahide laws, transmitted through God to Moses on Mount Sinai. And in 1991, Congress stated in the preamble to the 1991 bill that established Education Day in honor of the birthday of Rabbi Menahem Mendel Schneerson, the leader of the Chabad movement. Whereas Congress recognizes the historical tradition of ethical values and principles which are the basis of civilized society and upon which our great nation was founded, whereas these ethical values and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization, when they were known as the 7 Noahide laws. Israeli Druze. In January 2004, Sheikh Moafak Tara, the spiritual leader of Israeli Druze, signed a declaration, which called on non-Jews living in Israel to observe the Noahide laws. He was joined by the mayor of Shefa, Amra,